A working father trusted his home, but court uncovered a deadly betrayal.
Disclaimer. Based on the two events, certain names, probations, and identifying details have been changed to protect the privacy of the individuals involved. Some sequences have been dramatized for narrative clarity.
The working father's life followed a pattern shaped by duty rather than desire. Each morning, he rose before sunrise, the soft quiet of the house wrapping around him as he prepared to leave. His workdays were long, his return nights late, but every step he took was anchored in the belief that his sacrifices were building safety for his family. When he crossed the threshold of his home at night, fatigue mixed with comfort. The familiar walls, the presence of his children, and the routine of shared space convinced him that trust was firmly rooted where he lived. Inside the home, life appeared balanced and calm. Meals were eaten without conflict, conversations stayed practical, and daily habits repeated themselves with reassuring regularity. Yet beneath these ordinary moments, something fragile was forming. Emotional distance does not announce itself loudly. It grows quietly, in pauses between words and glances that linger too briefly. The father sensed nothing unusual, because nothing visible demanded his attention. Stability, as he understood it, still seemed intact. The rhythm of the household changed the night he returned earlier than expected. The timing alone felt insignificant, but the atmosphere inside the home felt different. Sounds echoed where silence usually lived, and closed spaces created an unease he could not explain. His questions were simple, driven by confusion rather than accusation. The answers he received did not match the tension in the air. Trust, once unquestioned, began to feel uncertain. When the truth surfaced, it did not arrive gently. A hidden relationship stood exposed, bringing with it shock and disbelief. Loyalty, once assumed, fractured instantly. Words escalated, emotions overwhelmed restraint, and fear replaced reason. What followed was chaos rather than calculation. Violence erupted in a space once defined by routine, permanently breaking the structure of the family. Children became silent witnesses to a moment that would divide their lives into before and after. By morning, authorities were notified of a death described as the result of personal despair. The home, now still and heavy, offered no resistance to that narrative at first glance. Grief was presented plainly, but trained observation noticed inconsistencies. Injuries on the body and signs within the room did not align with the explanation provided. The loss shifted from private sorrow into professional scrutiny. Investigators approached carefully, understanding that truth often hides behind rehearsed calm. Physical evidence raised questions that words could not settle. Digital records were examined, revealing patterns of communication that contradicted earlier claims. As questioning continued, emotional control weakened. The story that once appeared complete began to unravel, piece by piece. What had been concealed was no longer sustainable in the presence of facts. The case moved steadily into the courtroom, where emotion yielded to evidence. The environment changed from intimate spaces to formal proceedings, where every detail mattered. Testimonies reconstructed the timeline, and forensic findings provided clarity without judgment. Responsibility was established not through anger or sympathy, but through verified actions. The father's life was represented through records, statements, and the quiet acknowledgement of irreversible harm. When the court delivered its decision, the room remained restrained. Punishment followed the law, closing the case formally and definitively. Justice addressed the crime, though it could not restore what had been taken. The verdict marked an end to legal uncertainty, but it did not erase the emotional weight carried by those left behind. Children returned to a world altered beyond repair, and trust stood as a lesson rather than a certainty. In reflection, the story revealed more than a single act of violence. It exposed how neglect, secrecy, and emotional isolation can erode families silently. The father's belief in safety was not foolish, only human. The courtroom offered accountability, but the lasting message reached further, urging attention to the bonds that require care long before they begin to fracture.